Hello and pleasure. My name is Fabian John. I'm a student from subject Economy Development, PEG3013, Group C, and today I would like to talk to you about the main problems or challenges occurred in implementing Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs in Singapore. First and foremost, I also would like to share to you about the background of Singapore. As for introduction, modern Singapore was founded in the 19th century thanks to politics, trade, and a man known as Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles. Singapore is a city-state located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, about 137 kilometers north to the equator. It consists of the diamond-shaped Singapore Island and some 60 small islands. The main island occupies all about 18 square miles of this combined area. The main island is separated from Peninsular Malaysia to the north by Johor Strait, a narrow channel crossed by a road and a trail causeway that is more than half a mile long. Singapore is the largest port in Southeast Asia and one of the busiest in the world. It owes its growth and prosperity to its focal position at the southern extremity of the Malay Peninsula, where it dominates the Strait of Malacca, which connects the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea. Moreover, Singapore population is estimated at 5.67 million people recorded in 2019. Moving on to the next point, I would like to share to you about the history of Singapore in implementing Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs in the United Nations community. So, first and foremost, Singapore joined the United Nations on 21st September in 1965 after gaining independence on 9 August 1965. As a small country with limited land and no natural resources, Singapore understands the challenges of sustainable development as well. This is why Singapore participated actively in the negotiation on the 2030 Agenda and continue to support efforts to implement and achieve the SDGs globally. The Singapore government also believes that the SDG should focus on bringing concrete and substantive improvements, and that countries should be free to pursue the goals in whatever manner they choose on, in accordance with their national circumstances and priorities. Despite the main current challenges posed by COVID-19, Singapore have redoubled efforts to achieve the SDGs by seizing this opportunity to pursue an inclusive and sustainable recovery. So, Singapore has been start sharing the United Nations experience on sustainable development with fellow developing countries through technical assistance under the Singapore Cooperation Program or known as SCP. Specifically, the Sustainable Development Program SDP under the SCP since 1992, Singapore have trained more than 130,000 officials from over 170 countries in areas such as water sanitation, which is the Sustainable Development Goals number 2, and the Sustainable City, which is the Sustainable Development Goals number 11. Nonetheless, the unprecedented scale and ambition of the 2030 Agenda require renewed commitment and enhanced partnership from all stakeholders. Additionally, the COVID-19 pandemic threatens to stall or even reverse the progress on SDGs. Singapore and other countries will need to work together to intensify efforts we embark on this decade of action. Now, let's look at the problems or challenges faced by Singapore in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, which we will be covered in my friend's discussion.
These are some of objective SDG in Singapore. Firstly, no poverty and poverty in all its forms everywhere. This includes first, affordable healthcare. The government adopts a multi-tiered approach to healthcare coverage to ensure that no Singaporean is denied access to basic healthcare due to financial difficulties. Number two, access to quality education. Singapore made major investment in their preschool and school system to ensure that every child has access to quality education. And number three, social safety nets. They have placed social safety nets to provide targeted assistance to individuals in need, such as financial assistance to basic living expense and supports for housing and healthcare needs. Secondly, zero hunger and hunger. Achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. This includes first, optimizing local food production. Locally produced items such as fish, vegetables, and eggs complement their food import supplies and provide a critical buffer in the event of disruptions to import source. Number two, internalization. Internalization opens up new markets and helps their farms overcome land constraints in Singapore. They therefore encourage their local farms and food companies to venture overseas and seek opportunities. And number three is stockpiling. Thirdly, quality education. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. These include quality, affordable and accessible education for all. Quality number two, early childhood development and number three, post-secondary education. Singapore has a vibrant post-secondary education landscape comprising public and private operators that offers a variety of programs to harness the diverse interests and strengths of the population. And number four is maximizing the potential of students' special needs. Children with students will be able to access the regular curriculum supported by trained teachers, stylish manpower, and school-based program. Next, gender equality. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. These include end discrimination against women and girls. Number two, eliminates violence against women and girls. Government agency also works closely with NGOs and the community in order to foster a violence-free environment. And number three, promote shared responsibility within the household and the family. Singapore encouraged both men and women to share caregiving and household responsibility equally. And lastly, clean water and sanitation. To ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. These include safe and affordable drinking water, to ensure the sustainability of their water supply and to meet the needs of their growing population and economy. They have built up their water source over the years. And number two, efficient water use. They work closely with both industrial and domestic sector to lower water consumption and promote efficient water use.
Okay, the first problem is environmental issues in Singapore, which is limited land. As Singapore's population and economy grow, they need to continually optimize the use of their limited land, whether through redevelopment, planning, or building underground infrastructure in order to keep up with demand. So the problem exactly is limited land or land scarcity. The contributing factors for this problem is the population is expected to age rapidly, with the number of Singaporeans over 65 years of age and above doubling to 900,000 by 2030. Based on the government research, an additional 5,600 hectares of land are needed by 2030 to cater for a population expected to grow between 6.5 and 6.9 million. The effect of this problem is they might need to remove some of the recreational places. Singapore's leisure spaces are under threat as more golf courses are being acquired for infrastructure and housing projects. So the solution for this problem, there are two. First, spatial strategy. Setting up economic centers outside the traditional business and financial district in the central region. They are planning for more residential spaces in central Singapore to enable more people to work nearer their homes. Second, underground infrastructure. They are exploring options to shift more of the transport and utilities infrastructure and storage facilities underground. Some examples under study include an underground good mover system and underground electrical substations.
Assalamualaikum dan hai, my name is Muhammad Faisha bin Ahmad Syafi'i. I will discuss about the problem in Singapore is about the imbalance of the population. In Singapore, 1 in 8 people are 25 years old and over. And also, Singapore is the fastest growing countries in the world. Therefore, Singapore has reached the level of all country, even though it has been categorized as the developed country. They will have some impact ongoing the development in Singapore, including use for health care and the elderly, and it expect to increase from years to years in Singapore. In addition, the labor constraint in Singapore due to all worker and foreign interest restriction. Therefore, the restriction have made Singapore increasingly depend of all local worker in economic development. According to the development goal report by United Nations, Singapore is expected to group 35 years old to be increased 1 in 4 Singaporeans. In addition, the old age support is expected to decline by almost half from 1.5.1% in 2017 to 2.1% by 2030. This old age support rate is the ratio of the Singapore who are active economically and to the elderly who tend to be inactive in economy in Singapore. There are some factors because of the increase in the population age 65 and above in Singapore is the increase in unmarried women. Also the government policy, for example, the government introducing 2 children per family, and also the participation of women in labor. The proof based on the STAR report, the number of births Singapore in 2018 was 39039 and decreased 1.5% compared to 2017. At the same time, the number of deaths increased 1.8% from 20905 in 2017 to 21282 people last year. In my opinion, for problem 2, although Singapore is developed country, but this country also too has the problem such as imbalance age of population, which also affect the economic development in Singapore.
The third problem is increasing healthcare expenditure due to an aging population. They have thus far managed to maintain their healthcare spending at a modest level. Singapore's rapidly aging population means that healthcare expenditure will inevitably rise. The problem is increasing healthcare expenditure. Now, contributing factors. First is high cost. Care of the elderly and the young will become relatively more expensive in the future. Secondly, demographic change on past and future. Next, the effect is, first, rise in healthcare costs. Every year, healthcare expenditure rise appreciably due to the growth and aging of the population. The impact of both aging and population growth on spending in the hospital, physician, and nursing home sectors. Secondly, rise in spending per capita due to the aging the population. The solution is innovative medical and health technology. Growing number of healthcare startups in areas such as chronic disease management, digital diagnosis, and consumer health and wellness. These startups provide a myriad of products such as mobile apps to connect patients and doctors, and that serve as digital platform of healthcare service. Singaporeans have also proven to be relatively receptive to healthcare technology, with 4 in 10 owning a health application or gadget.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. I'm Jawad. I'm gonna talk about problem number 4 of Singapore, which is gender inequality. Gender inequality is the social process by which men and women are not treated as equal. That means men gets more privilege than women. Example of some gender inequalities are underestimating women, paying less salary than men, sexual harassment, not promotion for women, and racism. Next, SDG 5, gender equality, which is projected by Singapore government. Singapore is fully committed to the advancement of all women and girls. Equal opportunities are available to all citizens irrespective of their gender and founded on the principle of meritocracy. This is enshrined in Article 12(1) of our Singapore's Constitution, which specially provides that all persons are equal before the law and entitled to the equal protection of the law. Next, some approaches taken by Singapore government for the well-being of women. First one is end discrimination against women and girls. Singapore is a party to the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, where Singapore is firmly committed to the principles of equality and non-discrimination as European espoused by CEDAW. An inter-ministry committee on CEDAW was created to implement and monitor policies and initiatives to address women's needs in accordance with our obligations under CEDAW. Second one is eliminate violence against women and girls. Singapore does not condone nor tolerate any form of violence against women. Third one, promote shared responsibility within the household and the family. Singapore encourages both men and women to share caregiving and household responsibilities equally. Number 4, women in leadership. Singapore actively supports women's participation in decision-making positions through several initiatives like participation in the elections and like gender diversity on board and in senior management, etc. Number 5, women's access to economic resources. Singapore is focused on building a nation of opportunity and an inclusive society where every citizen shares in Singapore's success. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and my name is Muhammad Usman Syahmi bin Manslan, mentoring numbers D201810828225. Okay, I will tell you about conclusion. Alright, so when it's come to development, Singapore has always taken a long-term forward-looking approach. For example, undertaking several major infrastructure projects in the next decade to accommodate our growth. This includes the constructions of Terminal 5 of Singapore's Chinese International Airport, which is expected to be complete by 2030. Okay, we also do not shy away from making tough but necessary decision. Okay, this is why we decide to introduce a carbon tax in 2019. Okay. So to ensure that our report was comprehensive, we assigned a group of agencies to work on each of the 17 SDG write-up in accordance with the areas under their purview. Okay, alright. So next is learning from others. DIMC SDGs attended several workshops and seminars at the sub-regional, regional, and global level in order to learn from the experience of other countries which had already undertaken their VNRS and to share best practice on how to better achieve the SDGs. Okay, this include the Southeast Asia Forum on implementation, the Sustainable Development Goals. Alright. This is organized by the Ekonomi and Social Commission for ASEAN and the Pacific in October 2017. And the workshop for the 2018 voluntary national reviews at the high-level political forum organized by the Department of Economic and Social Affairs in December 2018. Alright, that's all for me, and that's all from my group, and thank you.